Well, hello everybody. Here we are. This is WREXtra time. I am Paddy Power and we are on the local pundit. We are here to talk about Wrexham versus Blackburn Rovers. We have taken out another one. 2 goals managed to do it. Smith and Ratbone, some oldies but goodies, took out the points for us this time. And we have a lot to talk about today. We do have a lot to talk about today. One of the things we have to talk about today is the leaderboard. Where are we on the leaderboards, ladies and gents? We are in 8th position. We are tied with Preston North End for 7th and 8th. Only 1 point currently off the playoff spots. So everybody else has to play today, and then we'll see exactly where that leaderboard ends up. But happy New Year, everybody. What can we look for? 3 matches in a row, ladies and gentlemen. This is a nice start into the new year. And I'm sure plenty of people are going to come in and have a discussion. First half was fantastic attacking football. Lots of the second half was defensive play. I'm going to hold my comments till later. I'm going to try and remain positive on that as much as I can. But game management, we took it home. We didn't let them score on us. 2-0 is fantastic. Could have done better, but c'est la vie, guys. It's only the points. I've said it before. If we have a crap performance and take out the points, that is really all that matters. But this is a discussion show. We will dive into the topics, but it is also your discussion show. So let me drop in the link. If you haven't been here before, and join us, and we will talk about what you want to talk about for the most part. So link in the comment, link to show. Copy, paste, and post. There we go, ladies and gents. Hit the link. Well, you can't hit the link. Just copy paste it into your browser. Come and join us. Switch on your camera. Switch on your microphone. You'll be dropped into the background, and I will bring you in as soon as I get a chance. So let's have a quick look at the comments here while we wait for guests to come and join. First up, we have some new members. We have Arnie Finezza, 9792. Welcome to becoming a member. And also Bradley Albright, 1725. Welcome to a member of the local pundit channel. I'm sitting a little bit low. Let me move this seat up. There we go. Drop me more central. Nick Donlan is in the house. What does Nick say? Great match. Hated that we did the turtle imitation towards the end, but you can't argue with 3 wins on a bounce. Nope. Ted Nelson is here. He says, hey. SMAG777. Yes, agreed that taking pressure is unnecessary when the pure defensive mode kicked in the second half. Taking 9 out of 9 points so far is a great start to the holiday period. It really is a tough period to go through, and we have done really, really well. So that is fantastic. And this is the perfect time, guys. It is the perfect time to come in and get these points and show that we are a viable candidate for promotions, because we do need to convince players to sign on the dotted line. They have to believe in what we're achieving or can achieve this season. Now, we've gotten close enough for the January window. So can we convince the right players to come and join us to give us that extra depth that we need to get us over the line? We have a fairly strong squad. I'm quite happy with the squad we have. Lacking a little depth here and there. Injuries can hurt us and can cause us to drop down the leaderboard. But in general, if this is just first season, I'm comfortable with what we have to finish out this season and end up in a nice top half position of the table. And that would be a fantastic result. But Rob and Ryan are the owners, and Rob especially maybe wouldn't be too happy without putting his foot on the gas if he thinks that a bigger outcome is possible. So really interested to see who comes in um, for us in the January period. Can we convince top talent to come and join us and push us for a first season playoff at the end of the season? Now, Anand is here first up. He's going to come and join us in 2 seconds. I'm going to quickly just say hi to a few more people in the comments, try and catch up, and then we'll be straight at it. Okay. Ruth is here. Her lucky kit did it again. Well done for that. Ken Hill, many good outcomes today. Win 3 points, 2 goals, no injuries. Maybe no injuries. Not too happy about Ratbone hobbling around for a significant period after taking a stab to the foot. But yes, that's likely something we got away with. Time into the legs, player rested. Yes, we did get some decent players rested actually. And time for the guys to come back. The Vorschmack is here. Ali. I loved hearing it in the background. If you listened after Ollie got that goal, the crowd went absolutely wild singing for Ollie. And that must have been amazing for him to hear that again and to hear what support he has here at Wrexham. Woody is here, 3 in a row. Way to go. Yo. Habs is here, yo. Okay. Habsification injuries were really affecting Blackburn. Yes, they were. We can talk about that in a little bit. The articulation station. Good win. Happy New Year's. Okay. Davmar, I agree. Goal difference is going to be crucial. Should have brought in JWOOD and Broadhead to keep the pressure on. We can talk about that. Now, yes, I would like to have a better goal difference, and I do think our goal difference is going to significantly improve over the second half if we keep playing the 3-4-3. Usually, the goal difference is not crucial. Okay, so for the most part, it probably won't be. However, we can talk a little bit about that. Ted Nelson, where's Paddy? I was in the background, buddy, pushing buttons. I'm here. I'm controlling things, sort of. Okay, link to the show. Vorschmack definitely could have scored more goals. I agree with that. Momentum is key. 3 wins in a row. Excellent. The chat is chatting tonight. I pulled down on the chat bar and suddenly loads of new chats came up. Nick agrees with me. Perfect timing, unless he was responding to someone else, but I'll take it either way. Marat says Ratbone ran circles around everyone, made Lewis O'Brien look poor. Maybe we can discuss that. Okay, nearly gone. Ted, more Ratbone love. Let's put that up first. Ratbone, 3 games, 3 goals. That is fantastic, actually. He really has had some amazing results since he came back for the minutes he's been getting. The Japanese and Koreans seem to have a tough time handling physicality of the championship. Yes, we've seen that through multiple teams. Chris Wright, this will be the last one. Do you think Wrexham will be in the playoffs? And you know what? Let's bring our man Anand in to answer that question. Hello, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everyone, and a perfect start to the new year today. So I think with all the players that we got rested, we are in a good spot now for the next game, and it would be really good if we go into the next game and get some points. 3 points will be great. Uh, we will be at the top 10 by the end of the day today and probably stay there. Uh, a lot of results at least one result should go in our way, and we will be in the top 10. Uh, I think we have a goal ahead of us now, and that is to be in the playoffs. So, yes, that is the goal. I don't think we can get complacent about it. As we have seen, last week we were pretty down in the dumps, and now we have a 3-game win streak. So the championship can, take you through the ringer, and we definitely have a goal now, which is to be in the playoffs. And I think next year in Welcome to Wrexham, we'll find out what all things went in the background to fortify us in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, everything is in a positive direction, isn't it? Everything is kind of aiming towards, yes, we can make a push for this playoff. I don't know if anyone noticed, I discussed it a little bit in the Discord yesterday, but the playoff totals are aiming towards being a lower number so far this season than average. So the average is 74 over the last multiple seasons, but at the moment it's going a little bit shorter than that. Now anything can happen because we'll see who makes a push right at the very end. But we have a very good shot of being in playoffs by the end of the January window closing. So that's really good. Everything is staying pretty tight. Depending on how it results today, we actually have a shot of going into the playoffs by the next match. It is, we'll see what happens today. We'll see how many people win. If everybody above us win, then probably not in the next match, of course. But that also assumes that we're going to win the next match. So we also have to do that as well. So not forgetting all of that. But yeah, everything looks tasty at the moment. So who do we have? Let's remind everybody. I'll just bring this back up for a second. Okay, fixtures for us. Okay, so coming up, we have Derby away, a tough team that like to stay strong and counter on us. So I think that's a winnable match. But like all championship matches, we have to get it done tough. So that's winnable in my mind. Then we go away for the FA Cup. So a little bit of a break there. What happens there, who knows? We'll probably lose it, being Nottingham Forest. But they will put out a more weakened team. So hopefully we stay in the cup and get another big draw and get to play someone else. That would be fun. Actually, hang on. This is a question for the chat, right? But in the chat, guys, who wants to survive in the FA Cup and go on to play another team? Do you want us to go out in the FA Cup and just focus on this promotion push in the league? So what do you think? Because if you're saying push for the cup, you're also, in my mind, saying first team. Put out your entire first team, go for the FA Cup. So throw up your comments there. I want to see that. So I'll come back to that. That'll be my first one after we go through the teams here. So then after Forest, we have Norwich at home, who have been all over the place with their results. They're still not pulling themselves out of the relegation area at the moment. So that's a potential winnable match for us. Then we have a tough one, which is at home to Leicester. Big team, strong team, can put the performance on at times, but is beatable on the day as well. So they're not a monster, they're not someone we should be fearing. But that is the most difficult match out of the group. Then we have QPR away, which again on the day, tough match. And then we have Sheffield Wednesday. So that's plenty of winnable matches here to see us even comfortably, potentially comfortably in around the playoff spots by the end of January when that window is closing. What do you think? And do you agree or disagree with any of that? Or
Yeah, today we won with probably our most League One team. So the gap between our starters and our bench players is is tightening up, which is a good thing. So I think for the Nottingham Forest game, just play the players who haven't gotten minutes, and if they can get a result, fine. Otherwise, just move on. I don't think this is a good time to get caught up in the FA Cup craze.
So you actually want to play a weakened team?
Definitely a team where just get the minutes in for all the bench players, and if that means it's a weekend team, so be it. I think the definition of a weekend team is also uh, blurring up a little bit, because
Mhm.
technically today was one of our weaker teams, and we were actually, to some extent, much better than our number one team, because we have had so much struggles winning away. Of course, the formation helped, but our first goal was a reminder of our, the goal that got us into the championship, and then Ollie was as calm as ever, as calm as he was during the other two goals, and so at this point, I think uh, uh, of course, the next game will give us a window into what should really happen there. But I strongly, and I don't think Parky has ever played a strong team for any of the non-league games. So I think we will continue that trend.
The local fans will string Parky up if he doesn't play full squad versus Nottingham Forest. It's a big thing for the locals. FA Cup versus a Prem team, absolutely they want him to go for it. Guarantee it. For the majority, of course. Everybody.
Yeah,
has
I think there is also such a thing as wishing for too much. It's almost like making the fourth wish on the genie. I wouldn't risk, mostly it's a risk factor. Uh, I don't want to risk any of our top players uh, with that mentality of, you can see what it takes to win a game. Ollie Rathbone already almost got wiped out today. So that's the kind of effort it takes to win a game. And if we try to put that squad and that effort, you are going to then impact, the rest of the season. We've had instances where the practice games is what has caused us most damage. That's how we lost Rathbone. That's how we lost Paul Mullen. So I'm not a big fan of uh, at this stage in Wrexham's life, a big fan of focusing too much on non-league games.
Okay. Let's leave the FA Cup there, because I'm going to go through the chat after we finish this one. So I just called out the matches there. Going up to Sheffield United, we have Derby away, Norwich home, Leicester home, QPR away, and Sheffield United away. 2 home, 3 away. Right? How many points do you think we're going to get in those 5 matches? What do you think is a decent haul?
Yeah, I think at this point we have to start thinking that our average should be 2 points per game, as it's always should be. So anything at 10 or above is good. But given that we have 3 home games, and
2.
at this point, I know Leicester is a big name, but we have 3 home games and
2
2
home
away
games.
games.
And 2 home.
I'm sorry, what is that?
2 home, 3 away.
Oh, is it 2 home and
Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Is your
Oh,
home
yeah.
match. It doesn't count.
Yeah, I'd be happy with 10 with 3 away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sheffield Wednesday is a sort of a gimme, but you never know.
Gimme. We drew with them the last time.
So yeah, 10 points would be. It's Sheffield Wednesday, not United. Okay, I saw. Isn't Wednesday at the basement, or is it United?
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Yeah. So 10 points is what we should shoot for, but we'll see how, but we are at a rich streak now.
Yeah.
So maybe we should be greedier than that.
I agree with that. That's kind of my opinion too. With those 5 teams coming, we should be able to swing 10 points with our current play, with the new style, with the players, the whole lot. I'm hoping to take 10 points out of the next 5. I agree with that. Now, preferably more if we can go on a really nice streak. This is a period where potentially we could make some decent points and allow ourselves a little bit of flexibility later. That would be fantastic. But yeah, I think 10-2 per match is where we want to be kind of for most of the remaining season if we can. So guys, we have Habs in the background. I'm going to bring Habs in here. We're going to finish the discussion on the upcoming matches. Then we'll do the little bit of FA talk. Then we'll get straight back into the match tonight. So, Habs, hello.
Yo, it's Interpol's Most Wanted.
Okay, so were you listening to the convo there? Maybe yes. Okay. Right, Habs. Next 5 matches. 10 points, more than 10 points. What do you think? You're muted.
It's doable. It's doable. We've got Derby next.
Yeah.
And then we've got Nottingham Forest, but that's a cup match and it's a bit different.
Yeah.
So we'll probably, and who we got after that?
We have Norwich at home, Leicester at home, QPR away, and Sheffield Wednesday away.
You know what's interesting? We could win all those. We could
possibly. They're all beatable teams.
With the way we're playing now, we are more than capable of actually beating them, and especially at home as well, where the players are going to be much more psyched up for it. Yeah. So that could be they could have that psychological edge. But we got Derby away. I don't know if we're going to face them at full strength either, so that's going to be a difficult one to say.
Of course, yeah.
We could end up having the same squad as we have today, and basically end up seeing. We could end up getting the same kind of results because John Eustace, with Derby, they do like playing that sit back, counter as hard as you can, go on the transition as hard as possible, and then get the goal, and then just defend with their lives.
Okay, so how many points? That was my question.
Ultimately,
it's only a guess. Don't worry about it too much.
We could get another 9 points. We could.
Okay. 9-10, solid results. If we swing the 10, it's 2 per match. Yeah, that's good results.
Yeah,
that's pretty solid to get us to the playoffs from here. Yes. Okay. So guys, I said we'll do a little bit of FA talk. Let's jump back here and see where does it start. Okay, lots of comments. See, I knew that I'd get to people. Everybody has an opinion. Wow, I got to go back a long way. Okay, Dvorak, I'm not going to put them all up. FA Cup is worthless. Woody Windsor, lose the FA Cup game. Morgan, not particularly bothered by the FA Cup. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to put this one up. I like this one. Word scheme. No, I want it all. FA Cup win and promotion. There we go. I like that type of talk. Okay. Bruce is saying 75% strength in the cup. Antonio, FA Cup would be massive. A lot of the non-starters need minutes. Could be a mix of starters and non-starters. Okay. Focus on the playoffs would be the better way to go. The league, it's not even a consideration for the cup from Kim. Paul Kelly, focus on the league because risking injuries may hurt us again. Guys, yeah, I understand that logic, but we have had players break their legs on bloody sprinklers when training. So what can we do? Okay, Wayne, concentrate on the championship. Not going to win the FA Cup this year. Priorities.
I think there are a couple of counter arguments to having the stronger players. Some of the frontline players might say that, hey, I have an 8-day gap between this game and the next, and I'll be fine. And I want to showcase my strength to potential Premier League caliber, and also, measure myself against the Premium League players. I don't know how much say a player will have in whether he plays or not. I'm guessing that not much. Parky will have the final say. So there might be an argument that there is a lot of time between the FA Cup game and the next game, and maybe we will have a stronger team.
That is a very valid point in general, just saying about having a stronger team, because it is a full week before and after for us between matches. And sometimes when the team is going well, what you want to do is just keep playing your best players. You don't want to give them that break, do you really want to take some of your best players and give them 2 weeks without being in front of, well, look, they'll probably be on the bench, they'll probably take a part in it, so maybe that's not fair saying they'll get nothing out of it. But yeah, sometimes you just want your players to be in form, and the best way to do that is to play them. Another argument is, do you want your best players out there and we get absolutely slapped in the cup and it puts them in a negative frame of mind? Look, who knows? There's so much to talk about.
Yeah, I think the rest of the players have to get some minutes. And if after 60 minutes, things looks still good, then Parky can decide what he wants to do with the FA Cup game. So I think that's probably the way he will end up going.
Yeah. Nick here saying he wouldn't be mad at beating Forest if we don't risk Moore's hamstring. After that, he doesn't care about the cup. Ricky is saying, oh, no, wrong one. There we go. Forest will play a weaker team. They're fighting to stay alive in the Premier League. That's probably true. They should be able to beat us with their weaker team. But look, it's a shot, guys. We're not ridiculously far behind the lower end of the Prem. I know it's a big jump, but we've done worse. We've done worse when we've been in a League Two team to Championship teams. So,
I mean, they're going to play some of their stronger team. They're going to mix in some of their stronger players. Yeah, with their weaker side so they can get the younger players blooded, basically. So.
Yeah, and they'll probably do what we have done at times as well with weaker teams. Is you play some of your backup squad, but then you have some of your big hitters sitting on the bench, and you intend not to play them because you expect the team to win. But if they're not winning, then you say, right, lads, here you go, 3 of the best players they have onto the pitch, get it done, win the match. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But we could talk about this forever, the FA Cup, but I'm not going to stick on it because, look, we're talking about the league and our win today. So let's go back to it. Right, this is how I saw it. First half of the match, we came out full attack with the new 3-4-3. Yes, we had different personnel playing it, but we absolutely dominated them, caused them all sorts of chaos and trouble, scored 2 fantastic goals. And then in the second half, we just fell back into more defensive play. I can't see it that this is the guys choosing to play defensive here. It wasn't long into the second half that they just slowed down. And in the final, 35 minutes, we might not even have had a single shot. It was nuts. Fantastic win. We got there. We won. In a weird way, I would almost prefer to change personnel and just go full defensive if that's what he wanted. But I don't think it worked. Going defensive, I just don't think it worked. I think we would have had an easier time just keeping attacking them. They weren't getting the ball off us. They were falling apart. I don't understand that logic. Can anybody help me see what I'm missing here?
I think we've not had a 2-game lead in a long time. 2-goal lead.
Yeah.
So I can understand why, the team was a bit confused. Even in my mind, after 2 goals, I'm looking at the back line and not at the front to see how well we are set up in case we lose the ball. So I can see why the players are doing the same. If there was a chance to make a back pass or a front pass, they were always picking the back one, because just to give rest to the different zones. And I didn't mind them playing that way. And I think it is better not to signal to the opponent that we are going to do that, because the first goal sort of opened things up, and maybe having the attacker still on the field keeps that doubt in their mind, and they don't press all the way forward, which is when we start getting into trouble as a team. So I think this is a good strategy as long as we don't give up goals in this setup. And we've had the crossbar save us a couple of times in the last 2 games. But I would then start, maybe if we did give up a goal, Parky would have made the switch at that point.
So Woody Windsor is saying here, tired feet, leggy. I understand that you get a bit tired, okay? But I suppose the problem for me is if we went defensive on purpose like that, we ultimately still allowed them to take shots on us. So we went way too deep. We invited the pressure again, and we gave them opportunity to come in and score. Look at the crossbar. That should have been a goal. You know, he belted that crossbar, and just a tiny bit more accuracy on that. Actually, do you know what? No, it wasn't even the attacker's fault there. There was a slight touch. One of our defenders got on that ball that gave it a little bit of movement, and we just got lucky. So that really should have been a goal. But our defensive team looked out there with that tiny touch that pushed the ball away. But we allowed them to get that close that they should have scored, which for me is not good game management. Now, we spoke about this last week as well, that we need to kind of consider when to use game management and use passing around and stuff like that. I just don't think we did it well today. I just don't think it worked.
I mean, one thing, I think we haven't been in this kind of situation in the Championship. So, but we were falling into this kind of weird habit of falling back. I don't know why we were going back into the strategy of going into that weird defensive posture while we were shelling up. But we weren't completely, though. We weren't completely going into it. We were still attacking, though, even in the second half. We were still trying to go forward. But I think it got to the point where Blackburn were just trying to do anything as well. Mm-hmm. We should also consider that as well. They were doing
that does happen, yeah.
Everything they can to just try and come forward and get the attack. They were even trying to hold possession. That's not their MO. They don't really do that. So, but we were still getting the turnovers. We were still controlling the ball. We knew how to control the possession and just get the ball forward. Even then, once we got the ball, and when we were just playing game management as well, we were still trying to get up forward and try and score. They looked like they were just trying to do anything they can, get as many fouls, cause as many, play the dark arts as much as possible, and then, just do everything they can.
Yeah,
that's one aspect of it.
Okay. Nick here has an idea. He says, unless Parky was using it as a training exercise to see how the back three fare. I don't think you train in the middle of a match, but I get the general idea. Does potentially Parky want to see how good we are in defense with this style, with the 3-4-3? Is it possible to actually sit a bit deeper and defend comfortably? And if he wanted to see that, or even if he didn't want to see it, but he now has, it doesn't work. Is my answer to that question. I think today's match proved it, because Blackburn have a huge amount of injuries themselves. They're not one of the
nine injuries.
They're not one of the better teams in the league in general, either. So we should have been dominating today. Ultimately, if we play well, we should be dominating a team like this, and a better team that we allow to have the ball like that in our areas, they're going to score us. They're going to get through us. So I worry about that for the future. We have to figure that out.
I think hunkering down is in our DNA, so that's not going to go. We do shut down all the latches once we get the lead, and I think that's pretty much a part of the Wrexham, mentality.
Yeah.
So I don't think we are going to go away from that, whether we have a two goal or a 1 goal advantage. I think what was really going on was that we did not want to open us up for a counter attack at any point during the game once we had that 2 goal lead.
Yeah.
So a lot of players were really not wanting to make that forward pass if that had any chance of opening up a counter attack.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm going to take a break for 2 seconds. Watch this. Show. There we go. No. Come on. There we go. This one. Birmingham are having another stellar start. Watch this, boys and girls. League table already. Coventry up 1-0. Ipswich up 1-0. Top 2 in the division at the moment, if it stays like that, because Middlesbrough are currently drawing. And then Watford already up 1-0 versus Birmingham. Oof, John is not going to be happy about this one. No goal in the Hull Millwall matches, Preston match as of yet. That's a quick start, guys. Or is it? No, actually, it's not, because that's 25 minutes into the matches for some of them. While we've been talking, it's on in the background. So we can check back in with that a little bit later. Okay, Matt White. I like counterpoints. Matt White. Oh, what happened to Habs? Habs disappeared. Jump back in if you wanted there. I don't know what happened there. I don't think I knocked you out. Okay, counterpoint. They only had one shot on goal and no big chances. I don't know how hitting the crossbar is not counted as a big chance. Maybe it's not by the statistics. It doesn't always catch everything. But yeah, okay. I suppose that's fair. It doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like that. And stats can sometimes be deceiving. I've said this before with our style, is we often don't get credited with a lot of shots on target because we swing things in from the wings. And it's one of these where shots are coming across the goal. And if you get any touch on it, it is a goal. But when you don't, you get nothing. You get no shot on target. You get no stats on it. So stats are sometimes a little deceiving. But that's a fair point. Habs.
No, sorry, I was having some issues with my phone.
No problem. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Let's see. More. Okay, there was one here. I'm going to go back to Broadhead. Just talking about our first half, second half play. I'm looking for the comment, guys. Give me 2 seconds here because I like the comment and I forgot to mark it. Nearly there. I can see.
Yeah, I saw that comment about putting Broadhead in, but I like him rested for the next game.
So Chris started it here, and there was some comments afterwards. We needed Broady there. This was the perfect match, actually, to bring Broadhead in and to keep attacking and absolutely rip them apart. I absolutely think he probably would have got a goal. Yeah. Now, if he needs the rest, I don't mind it. You know, I don't ultimately mind ending up 2-0 if that's particularly what he was doing. If he has his own game management, which is worrying about the next matches and not bringing on players to continue the attack, get the extra goals, that's fine. Look, that's understandable then, at least. But yeah, we could have won this one 3-4. But do you risk other players for it? Like you're saying about the FA Cup, should we risk players for the FA Cup? Maybe not. Should we have risked some players today instead of giving them a rest? We're winning 2-0. Why? Probably not. You know, so yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, so, I think points are the top priority, and then the goal difference I think will start coming into play. We'll get a much clearer picture in the last 2 or 3 games of the the whole championship standings, and that's when we might have to go for some of the non-conventional aspects of the game, like scoring goals or not giving up goals. So I think at this point, getting the 3 points is all that counts, and we have done that on the road, and now we have a 3-game stretch, so a lot of positives to carry forward.
One thing to consider is that this front three that we were using, when I saw the lineup, it came up as a 3-5-2, but we weren't playing a 3-5-2 though. We were playing the 3-4-3 still. Yeah. I don't know what's up with some of the people putting up 3-5-2 on there. Yeah. Anyways, the way we were playing was very different, because you can tell how differently the strategy was. Is that in the way Sam Smith was playing, he stretched out the defense. He stretched out that midfield where when we got the ball up to him instead. It was all about just stretching them out and using his speed to be able to get the ball into the area and to score the goal. So it's a very different tactic that we were using. And you could tell we weren't going as further forward when we were trying to get the ball to Sam than we were, let's say, if we had the other front three.
Okay, so this is an interesting point to kind of pick at here, right? We had a different front three today. We didn't have Kiefer Moore in there. And I mentioned in the pregame show that there's a very good chance here that Smith is going to be the focal point of our front attacking three. Do you agree that happened, or what do you think? Were we looking for Smith to be the one to score?
We were quite a bit, but we were also, when we weren't playing that part, when we were going in between either going into a full attack mode as opposed to just trying to stretch their defense with Sam, we would bring in Lewis O'Brien, and then we would also have Rathbone in as part of the interplay of being able to try and get the goal in, because you could tell we were just peppering in that shot, just constantly just getting into the area, and we were just getting so many turnovers every time. We controlled that game so easily, but it was also a thing that I was going to say, it's not Lewis O'Brien, but what was it? There was just this. You could just tell that Blackburn just didn't have the heart in the game as well, because that kind of played into it for us as well.
Okay, so let's ask a slightly different question then. Having seen Smith be the focal point today and kind of get a good view on what his abilities are, and he had some nice burst of speed at different times. He controlled the ball well. He took down the ball lovely from that James overhead pass for his goal. If we just play a little bit towards Smith's skill set, do we think he would be an asset in the front three? As
I think so.
Starting as one of the three occasionally.
Yeah, I mean, you have to play to each player's strength, really. So more strength is basically the hold-up play and using his size as well, and being able to work with both Broadhead and Windass, because they're very different. And here's an interesting thing: Windass and Moore used to be teammates. I can't remember where they played as teammates though. They played teammates in another team, and then you could see, and you've got Broadhead and Moore also playing as teammates on international football. So they have their own particular set of interplay. They do. But when you have Smith, there's a very different type of interplay, because you've got Moore, who has that kind of, if you get the cross into him, he'll header it in. He'll be there. He's got the size to be able to use that. Or if you get the ball into the right areas for him, because that's more of a more aggressive pressing style of tactic. But with Smith, you can tell he uses the play to stretch the game forward. So those players are basically stuck having to deal with him. You could tell there were only two defenders basically after him, and he was still ahead of them and got the goal in quite nicely. It's a very different style that we're using with Sam as the focal point as opposed to Moore.
Yeah, it is a slightly different style. Maybe more of a 2-1 than a flat 3 or what have you. But if Moore is out, we have to have an option. And this is starting to look like a good option. I really enjoyed the play today without the three boys up the front. You know, it was a different style. It was a different way of playing it. But to me, it shows that we're capable of having a different front three. And I hope we can figure out mixing the front three so that we have options there as well.
I think with Lewis O'Brien, because he doesn't have that, he has that press that keeps going forward, but he just doesn't have that goal scoring ability. He had that moment where he could have got that third goal, but he got saved. But I can't blame him on that one. That was just that looked like it was going in. That was to me. But I think he would be good in either the Sheaf or James position, really.
We keep saying this, and we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, but we don't.
We do see it at some point.
The thing is, we don't have anyone else as a replacement for. We don't have a like-for-like kind of slot, other than really J-Rod, to put into the Broadhead position.
Yeah.
I think this reminded me of our League One victories, because we had our League One players, and I think I'll make a Premier League comparison. I think uh, Smith is our Haaland. Just put a ball somewhere and he'll get it, and he will take an accurate shot at goal. And if you look at his 4 shots over the last couple of games, every shot was accurate. And I think we have been missing that from our other forwards, with Rathbone and to some extent Smith. Our forwards are paid to hit accurate shots, and our accuracy really went really high in the last couple of games. I think Kiefer Moore has the style to which Parky likes. I don't think Parky wants the game opening up and the defense breaking down. So Kiefer Moore helps with that style. That's how we have played our entire 5 years under Parky. A big guy standing up front, absorbing the ball. So it's a good, it's always good to have good problems and not bad problems. And I think these are good combination headaches to think about. And it's always good to have a couple of combinations that end up winning us games.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous thing, though, to lean too heavily on one player when you don't have a like-for-like backup. And we don't have a Kiefer Moore backup. The style of play will change when he's not on there. And I'm just glad that what we're changing it to seems to have the ability to win. And hopefully Parky learns to use that a little bit more as well.
I think the Ricky Quinlan thing you put up there was pretty poignant when he says it shows Parky will actually adjust his style of play. I never thought I would see the day. Never thought I'd see the day he did that. But it is very different in the way they're being used, and I think it's going to be useful in the way we use it. The way Sam's going to be used is going to be interesting going forward as well. Yeah. Because if we get another striker that's much more similar to Moore, or something in between Moore and Smith, where he's a big striker but can also play the ball forward and be able to carry it and pass it around and be like the hybrid type of striker, then that will be something interesting. That would be, because you mentioned one of them in the transfer window with Rots, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Rots. Yeah, I mean, he's sort of similar to that. And since he plays in the Eredivisie, they have that kind of like passing style of play. It's going to be hard to say what we're going to have, because if we have those kinds of three, then we could end up having like a switch in between either one, or bring on one as a sub to be able to do something very different. We may also need to get an actual left winger as well, because we have Broadhead, who's traditionally a left winger and is basically able to play as left winger. We may need to get an actual left winger to do that kind of left winger type role basically, for that. Drive the game forward, dribble around, be dangerous there, and link up play.
That's an interesting question when looking at our front three. Do we now kind of actively look for someone who's used to playing that winger style as left and right side of our three? That's a good point. Now, we have Longman on the other side, but we need an upgrade on Longman. Longman was released from Championship clubs because apparently he couldn't step up for what they wanted. And he's holding his own with us, of course, but that is one position that does need an upgrade. We need a new Longman.
I mean, an actual winger, because with Broadhead's position, he's a winger, but he's playing a hybrid role. Would we get like an actual left winger and a right winger? Maybe not a right winger, since we've got Rathbone, to play that Broadhead type role, who can play that hybrid role.
Yeah, the issue we're going to have here, I think, with a lot of these problems is, what do you do? Do you bring someone in who is similar like for like so that they can cover for each other? Or are you going to try and bring someone in significantly better who actually pushes our better players back down to the bench? You know, so going forward, I think we're close to the situation where the way to improve the squad is absolute quality over quantity, and bring in big top players who are going to take those number one spots from very good players. But that'll take a while. But I'm gonna move that conversation just a little bit, because this is similar. Now, there's a comment here I want to bring up, and I don't know if this is extremely harsh or if this is absolutely on the money, right? So I want to see what you guys think, and in the chat as well. Right. It makes sense to play Smith more to prove to other teams that he's championship worthy, so that they can get a better fee in this summer. And let's be honest, they'll get at least one other striker by then. So is Smith the low man on the totem pole who is championship quality, but is just not going to end up being one of our main starters? He's just going to get pushed down by better attackers we're going to keep bringing in.
I don't think this management has shown any inclination to make quote-unquote money this way. So I don't think...
Yeah, okay. I'm less worried about that part of it in the comment. And more the general fact, like, is it true he's getting pushed down? And if not this January, where we bring in more strikers, it'll happen in the summer. And he'll probably be left out.
At this point, Smith has done nothing to take himself off the table. Every time he has come in, he has proven to be extremely dangerous. And, today was another instance of that. He has got the speed to burn championship level defenders, and that's good enough for us to ride out the championship. And I don't think Smith will be in the... I think we have Ryan Hardy in the picture for leaving us. I don't think Smith is in that picture.
Even next summer, because that's the comment.
I think, well, if we make it to the Premier League next summer...
No, forget, no, it's just championship next year.
Yeah, if we are in the championship, I think it will be the performances over the next half which will decide what happens to Smith. In my mind, Parky has a style which doesn't allow for Smith to thrive right now. Mm-hmm. But he is a championship level player, and he has proved it again today.
Okay, I think that's the biggest point, and that was in my mind too. I think now Smith may have proved enough to get him more rotation with the front three in different combinations that Parky may try moving forward. And I think based on that and how well he works with different groupings of the front three will either allow him to become more of a starter within the team, or he won't. And he won't get the minutes, because up until now, I think Parky has kind of left him out of the side a lot. I've been one who's been a little bit unhappy with Smith getting 5 minutes at the end of matches. I kind of think that's poor, because I wanted him tested. I wanted him challenged with a couple of more minutes to prove himself. But I can see a future for him where he may now get the opportunities and then may be able to prove himself coming into the summer. But I do also think it's true. We are going to keep upgrading in all these positions. And at the moment, yes, Hardy is below him, but I think then kind of Smith from the regulars is probably on the lower end of that totem pole at the moment, maybe.
I just think he needs a bit more time, I think, really. It's the performance. We saw the glimpses of that performance in the last match, before this one, with P&E, where you could tell he was in those dangerous places. He stretched the defence again. with that front three, even though we had a different front three of Broadhead, Rathbone, and Smith, you could tell they did the same thing again. Get the ball to him, he will stretch their defense, and he stretched them with P&E, and he stretched them again with Blackburn, and you can tell how difficult it becomes when they're trying to go after him. And he scored he almost scored twice in the last match, so you can see those glimpses. And today he did score, so it all depends on how we use him and the performances he and the performances he puts out. That's all it really comes down to with Smith. And if you can get it right, which I think Parky is doing now because he's been kind of forced to do so since the Swansea match, if you can do it right and use him properly, he will get you those goals.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Okay, we're going to take another little break here because Dr. Joy says we are currently 10th place in the table right now. Let's bring it back up and have a look. Yes, we are.
Oh, bloody hell.
So Coventry up 1-0. Ipswich went to a draw 1-1 and now back at 2-1. So plenty of goals in that match. Middlesbrough still on 0-0. Watford have gone ahead 2-0, cementing that place for them for the moment. Hull. Oh, so that's Watford versus Birmingham. Oh, forgot that was Birmingham. So they're now down 2-0. You cannot tell me that their manager is not in some form of danger now at this point. His antics in getting himself a red card shows to me he is currently feeling pressure. You don't react that harshly with referees if you're not stressed. Okay, so that's Watford.
Is Birmingham playing away or are they playing at home?
They're playing away.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, makes more sense. Okay, then Hull are losing 1-0, so they're not going anywhere at the moment. They're staying closer to us. Preston is pulling up the last spot then at the moment with a 1-0 win for them at 40 points. Then we have Millwall at a draw. Bristol City 2-0. Stoke is winning 1-0. And that's us then in 10th with 37 points. And 6th place, bottom of the playoffs, currently 40 points. Now, that can all change, of course, and it can move around, but that is where we're sitting right now. And QPR can move ahead of us. If they win, Leicester can, but they're not playing till later. But that would be goal difference. No, we're pretty safe from Leicester. And Southampton can't get ahead of us. So we're likely to stay in 10th at the moment. But close enough, guys. This is where we want to be. 10th is fine for now. Right, back to where we are. So let's find a new topic. I've started a couple of bits here.
I hope they all lose, those players. All of them do.
Okay, let's hit this one. Jeez. Mr. Make Me is putting in real strong comments today. Look at this. Right. I started this earlier. He has very few complaints. Do you know what, Mr. Make Me? I know you said you were on the way back from the match, so you probably can't. But great points today. If you can't make it today, I want to see you come join us one of these days. I'd like to talk to you. So no complaint. Well, very few complaints, except O'Brien, who once again cannot finish. Where we'd all be hounding him if Wrexham had played a tighter game. Thank goodness Rathbone is back. So that hits 2. First, I'm going to give O'Brien another minute. I know we mentioned him already. So that shot from O'Brien, do you think that this is the O'Brien curse and he should have done better? Or do you think it was a great shot, but the keeper pulled off a fantastic save? Or somewhere in between?
It's tough to get a forward that has a forward's touch. And, we are lucky to have some forwards who are clicking right now. And you can see with O'Brien, the case when it doesn't click. Now it becomes a mind game kind of a thing where he has to be perfect with every shot. And when you try perfect shots, you'll always miss the goal. So now, it's probably his head is probably messed up, and I'm not sure how it comes back up. Maybe in practice, get everything sorted out and then come back. The shot has to be on target, so no complaints if the shot is on target. But if you keep either missing from point blank range or just hitting it straight at the goalkeeper, then you're probably thinking too much.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Okay,
I
Marshall.
think I think it was a good shot. It was a good shot that Brian O'Brien put up. It was just that the goalkeeper was on the ground and he just managed to get his hand up. That's all it really was. Because I mean, the same would be said if Arthur did that. We'd be saying the same thing. If Arthur was on the ground and the ball was coming in and Arthur gets his hand up just to stop the ball in time. So I think it was a good shot. It was a solid. It was just a really good save. It was. He just managed to get one hand up to stop the ball. It was in actual trajectory of getting inside the goal. It was.
Okay. Lots of different comments there, actually. Lots of different opinions on that one from the chat. This one here from Voshek. I just assume that Lewis O'Brien is going to miss every time. Okay. And Kim, if Arthur made the save, we'd have yawned and said good save. Which is interesting, but somebody else also, which I didn't put up, where is it? Someone else also said that if AO had saved that, we would have given him a parade. So two completely different opinions there on how difficult to save it was for AO, whether it would be simple or we would have been thrilled with it. So yeah, look, O'Brien, do you think he actually had a good game? He didn't. I suppose he wasn't involved a crazy amount. He did his job reasonably well, I think. But it was more Rathbone was kind of noticeable in the match today. Was that just because he's not regularly on? We paid more attention to him, or what do you guys think?
I think Rathbone, Rathbone has the forward's touch right now, even though he's technically not a forward. Every shot of his goal that he has made at goal is very calculated. In fact, I think he was having more trouble at midfield than his forward positions today. Of course, he's tenacious, so that makes up for everything. But forward's touch is a state of mind, the calmness, the accuracy, and I think it's great to have Rathbone in that state of mind right now. And being a forward is actually a state of mind, and I think O'Brien is going the other way. Nothing is going in his favor, and then he's trying too hard. So if O'Brien, whether it's his fault or not, keeps having these kind of games, I think Smith gets more and more in the mix for future starters.
I think we will, well, for everyone that was paying attention to Rathbone and didn't pay attention to O'Brien. O'Brien was always in the mix. He was linking up play and also forcing turnovers and pressing constantly. He was against players, so he was constantly in the mix. I saw him. He was always on players. He was forcing players to either pass into weird directions, and that was getting us the ball. He was always there. He was, and I think people are being overtly harsh in thinking that O'Brien didn't do anything. He was doing a lot. He was today. Like, he was putting the pressure on every single one of the Blackburn players. He was.
Yeah, so, I think he did a decent game today. He did his job well, and he only really got in on a couple of chances, maybe himself. He was linking very well today in general. Yeah, I like that.
And also, you have to take into consideration he also had an injection in his shoulder as well. So he was playing with that injured shoulder with an injection. I think he might have had a cortisone shot.
Yeah.
That's what Parky said.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. Yeah. Okay, let's give Rathbone our love then. So he got stood on his ankle, and then within 2 minutes later, he had a fantastic volley on the same sore ankle and brought it back across goal. He knew roughly where the goal was, knew he had to get it back in that direction, and he had a fantastic strike on it. Lovely volley. 3 goals in 3 matches with limited minutes. Now today, the full match. but in the other matches, very, very limited minutes. I understand why people are shouting to get him in the squad, find a place for him. But this is a temporary place. He's not going to be staying there, unfortunately.
I think the position suits him very well. It does as well.
It does.
Playing as that AMRW position is very interesting. It is a very interesting position. He's playing more as a forward. Him being able to go track back and forth as well, and being able to act as a forward, it's just very interesting because you could tell he was also, because there were other moments where he was trying to score as well.
Yeah.
So
there was.
So it's very interesting. It is that he's actually playing this because we saw this in was it the Sheffield match or was it it was the P&E match? It was, and when he got that goal, you could tell he was always on there. He was always just attacking. He had that attacking mindset instead of when he played as a central midfielder in League One. He's now playing as a proper forward in this. It's very interesting. But the switch is it's a very different switch. It is, but it's starting out. It's going to be interesting for the rest of the season what happens when we use him in such a way, because he's very different to Windass. Very different, because Windass is the kind of guy who will get the ball into certain players, but he will score from the outside, whilst Rathbone will get you those goals inside the box. Or Windass will try and get the nice crosses through to certain players. He's good with link-up play, Windass is, compared to Rathbone, where he's also good with it, but he's much more aggressive with his press, try and get in the turnovers, and then try and get the ball into the dangerous areas, pass it through, form the triangles, get into the box, and try and get a tap in. Because that's what he did in basically the last match.
Typically when players play for their country, they'll be much more physical, much more putting their body on the line. So we have Ollie Rathbone who's playing like he's playing for country, for our just like Paul Mullen did. And I think with Broadhead and Kiefer Moore, they do put their body on the line, but they are also aware at the back of their heads that they have a couple of more Wales games to play. So it's a good mix to have, where some people are leaning on their talent to get in the good positions, and whereas Ollie has the pit bull mentality: see ball, get ball. It's only when he gets in the goal range that he becomes calm and goes into a different state of mind, which is, I have to hit a shot which goes into the goal post. And he makes that switch really well, and that's one of the big reasons as to why we've gotten our 9 points in the last 3 games.
I disagree with the pitbull mentality. He has that hamster mentality. He brings his hamster wheel every time he scores.
Okay. Right. Let's see what happens with all these players, because these are difficult choices for Parky kind of moving forward when other players are potentially available. Would you, well, I suppose, how am I going to put this? How upset would you guys be if either Smith or Rathbone, let's say by next summer, chose to leave for guaranteed starting football, or as near as you can, move to another team for starting football?
It would be great if they get a starting role elsewhere. I think we cannot have it both ways. We just, for 3 years we have been letting our players go, and rightfully so that we can have a team that fits the league. And if a player gets either, that's the whole point. If they get a better deal, a better role to their liking, physical proximity, whatever it might be for them, we want our players to do better things, no matter where that leaves us. We have done the same to everybody else, and I want the player to return that favor and be in better positions. But I wouldn't mind. It's a good position to be in.
I think it depends what happens this half of the season and what we're able to bring in. I would be sad to see him go, but it all comes down to how beneficial they become, where they become what's the exact word for this? Where they become irreplaceable for the kind of role and position that they're going to be used for. Because if we're going to need them, then we can't really replace them if we can't find the type of player that would fit that kind of role. But then again, if we're able to find someone that can fit those roles, and they're better off trying to get first team football elsewhere, then sure, it's going to have to be something we have to do. But it just comes down to what we can get out of them and how they perform. And if we can get someone better, then maybe so.
Yeah. Okay. Right. We all love Ollie. I love Ollie. He's making things difficult with all his percentages, his goals, his assists for short minutes. So let's see what happens. Once again, another player that a lot of people are hoping get extra minutes.
3 goals in 4 matches as well.
Yeah. So moving from a player who doesn't get minutes and maybe deserves them to a player who gets a lot of minutes and didn't get minutes today are Max Kluivert. And I'm going to do it before we even start because this is a bit of a thing now. Hashtag save Max in the chat. Okay. What did you think of Max not playing today? And what did you think of our backline without him?
He needed the rest. He has been playing for, non-stop for all these games. And I think he'll be back next game. I think it was probably just a strategic move. And with our, 3-4-3 formation, suddenly, in some odd way, the fewer number of players at the back is actually giving them more time to recover under certain circumstances, and also getting them really tired once we get that lead. I think that's when they have to put in some extra effort. So they will probably need the rotation. So it's probably a very strategic move at this point.
Okay. I just want to bring something up here. Woody, Achilles problem for Max. Has anybody heard that Max potentially has any issues and that he was taken out for that reason? Or was he just given a rest? As Ruth says, Max needed a rest.
I haven't heard anything about him having an Achilles issue, but but he definitely needed the rest. He's played half of the season. He has.
Yeah.
So.
But in the chat, guys, if anybody wants to have a quick look around and see, has anybody posted anything about a potential injury to Max? I'd like to know if it's out there, if anybody has seen something other than just general pure speculation. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, one thing that was missing without having Max on was that kind of forward play that Max provides, where he keeps the game going forward. It didn't feel the same with Scar in the match.
Okay, Mr. May post here. Happy Max was rested, but Scar had a relatively mediocre game. If facing a bigger team, Wrexham could have been exposed. He was at the match watching. Interesting take there for that one.
But I agree with that, because when Max plays, he's always going forward as well, and he's pushing the game forward, and that was missing today. You could feel it and you could see it. It just wasn't there. There was no. I think that might have been why we were sitting back a bit more, because if you had Max there, he was able to link up play with either the wing backs or the midfield by crashing the game forward and joining up with the midfield.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not laughing at you. What I'm actually laughing at is the chat, okay? I'm just going to let people know. For anyone just listening and not watching the chat, there is a discussion still going on in the chat between Lewis O'Brien fans and Lewis O'Brien non-fans um, taking both sides of the argument as to was his goal, was his shot a good shot or not a good. I'm not going to go back onto it again. So let's leave
That's
it
the
there.
curse of being a forward. You will see forwards score in with tap-in goals, and they'll have 6
Okay,
goals.
I'm not discussing it again. We've already discussed it enough, but they're still discussing it in the chat, so that's fine. So I'm going to take this opportunity, and I'm actually going to say to people that if you want to continue conversations like this, we have them all the time in our Discord channel. So I'm going to put the link out for anybody who's not in the Discord, and you can come and join us there. If I can find, why can't I find it? There we go. Clicking buttons. Got it. Right. If you're not a Discord member, then come join us over there, and you can have conversations like this all day long if you wish.
The best place is the tactical fortitude part of the Discord. Explain that in there.
Yeah, we've a few different channels depending on what you're talking about. We can try and keep it on top. His kid. Hashtag people with too much time on their hands. I'm gonna leave that one there. I don't know, is that a dig for always being on the Discord, but whatever, it's fine. No, we have fun over in the Discord. We have lots of other chats there, and you can continue some of this chat over there as well. Right, so what were we talking about? We're talking about the defense, right? So Scar did an okay job today. So do you know what? I paid really little attention to it. Did Scar stay in the middle, or did he move out to Max's position?
He didn't really move as much as Max would. He did come forward, but it was only really.
Was he on the right?
He was in Max. He was on Max's position. Yeah.
So I am staying more central. Okay.
Oh wait, no. Wait. See, that's the thing.
I thought Scar stayed more central. Am I wrong?
Yeah, guys? I think Scar was in the middle. Yeah, I think so, because it was Hyam who might have been on the right. Yeah, it was Hyam on the right instead of Scar. Now that I'm thinking about it,
I think anytime we don't know what the formation was of the defense, that's good news, because that means, as a team, they played so well that we don't know what happened there.
Okay. Hyam didn't play on the left. Hyam played on the right. Okay. Yeah, so it's a little unfair then to kind of talk about Scar and Max, because that was different positioning. So yeah, Scar wouldn't be coming forward. But then you have Hyam on the right. So did Hyam play well on the right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, we got a guest coming in here. Brian, let's bring in Brian and see what he wants to talk about. Maybe this topic. Brian, hello. Paddy, can you hear us?
Hello. You let me in?
Yeah, I got you in now. Are you driving or?
Yeah, I'm driving. We were at the game, in the away section. So we're leaving Blackburn now. We're also at the Sheffield United game. And I don't know how long you've been on the air, what you've talked about so far, but my impression is that the Ollie Rathbone difference is just immense. I think it helps that he's playing with O'Brien, so it's kind of pick your poison maybe for the defense, Blackburn's defense. But I think just the difference Ollie makes is huge in terms of pushing us forward. I also think there was a little bit of a difference with Sam Smith versus Kiefer, in just that, Smith really likes to sprint, really run all out. Not that Kiefer doesn't give a lot of effort, but in terms of just the pace of the game and the speed, and we have the fix with Thomason on the wing. It was just much faster, I thought, today than than before Boxing Day for sure. So I definitely like this new style play much better. We only had James on the field, not James and Sheaf together. I thought that was smart. But in terms of rotating the squad, Kakache, I think is back fit. he looked good in his minutes, so we'll be seeing more of him. So there's no reason not to just be pushing, continuing to push and play fast. And then if they get tired in the second half, use your subs, use the bench. So I just align with what others have been saying so far.
Yeah, pretty much.
Paddy.
That's pretty cool. Look, Brian, I don't want to keep you too much if you're obviously concentrating on your driving. Great comments there. Pretty much in line with what we're thinking as well. Is there anything else you want to say before we drop you out there? Open floor.
Yeah, I will say, as well as we're doing, I hope Parkey does not think that he should not make any changes in the window, because I think we're doing excellent. However, this team is well suited to make the playoffs, I think. I don't necessarily think it's well suited to succeed in the playoffs. So if he could get another two, very high-end players to help us succeed against those squads, the Ipswich and Middlesbrough, whoever else we're going to be playing, I think that's really key.
Okay.
And thanks for the great energy and the field. I think our away fans are becoming a formidable, force to reckon with wherever we go. Thank you for that.
Yeah, the fan noise when Rathbone scored was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to hear from Welsh Techie or one of the other regulars. But, in terms of the Boxing Day match and the weigh-in today at Blackburn, the fans are 100% committed.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks, Brian. I'm going to let you go because you're driving. Let you focus on that and not take up too much time. Talk to you next time. Cheers, Brian.
Drive safe.
Bye-bye.
Okay, great to have him there. But obviously, guys, we're not going to keep anybody who's driving, with their focus. But great to hear from someone coming back from the match. Yeah, we might get Welsh Techie chatting with us at some point. So yeah, decent defense. Wing backs slowly starting to come back. Is there anything else that we want to move on to, or are we good with that for tonight?
Let's talk about the Blackburn players and as well as their manager. I mean, they were struggling. The first thing that I remember listening after what was the match we had on Monday? Was it P&A? Yeah, it was P&A. Yeah. P&A. I listened to Talk Sports. And it was the sports bar. It was so it's always the fun one that you hear. But I was listening to the matches on hearing about what was happening and stuff, and then there was this one caller who called in, who was a Blackburn fan who called in, and he said, "It's like, mate, we're struggling right now. We've got a bunch of we've got 9 injuries right now. We have one of our players has gone to AFCON. They were struggling, and basically what we were dealing with was skeleton crew. We were dealing with a skeleton crew. So they're difficult. They were struggling really hard. So it made it really difficult for, the manager, was it Valeri Ishmael?
Yes, he's the Valeri.
Yeah, and you could tell they were really struggling. They were today. So it made it a lot easier for us because we were putting them to the sword quite easily. We could have just ended them and humiliated them.
Yeah, I do kind of wish we just kept the foot on until we were 3-0. I don't like pulling back at 2-0. It's just too close, especially in a match like that where we were so dominant. I know they were going to get everybody gets a bit of time on the ball in the second half usually. No matter how bad the team is, they just get that momentum at some point and they get a few attacks going. But yeah, this is a team we really could have taken another couple of goals off. But yeah, look, c'est la vie. Let's give it to Parkey to say that he did this purely to save people, and we got the result.
But they were really struggling. They were doing anything and everything they could. Like there was just dark arts everywhere, just so much dark arts.
And I will say the keeper didn't. Sorry, not the keeper. The referee didn't fall for a lot of it actually. So we did fairly decent keeper from our side today. Not keeper. Why don't you say keeper? Referee.
Ref. Especially with that player Miller. He's an Aussie, I think he is. He was losing his head. He was as well.
Mm.
I don't know what was up with him, but he was losing his head.
Yeah, they're just stressed, I think.
Yeah, when you've basically got an entire squad just gone out and you're not able to use them, it does kind of mess up. And they did flash that up on there as well. So we could have really put them to bed, and because it was just there for us to do it. But I think really. I think there just was a point where we think maybe we shouldn't go all out because we're trying to just save some of our players at some point. And we don't want to cause any further injuries or potential irritations or knocks that could come about because of it. But they didn't really help the situation because they were just being as dirty as possible, and they were trying to be as rather flippant in many ways, just dark arts in their way through as well, and they're just trying to get away. I mean, there was that moment where we were trying to take the corner. Doyle was trying to, I think it was Miller as well who did that. He tries to push, he's just trying to push you back a little bit on the shoulder. He just drops. He does. He flops on the floor.
Yeah,
which was just amazing. It was just amazing how they were doing anything they can. That was one thing actually I wanted to talk about. Our corners, they were trash today.
They weren't great today. Yeah, Thomason overloaded on some of those again.
I think it might have been the wind because it was a little windy. You could tell by the corner flags. They were a bit windy there, but there was a lot of power that was being put between both and May.
So England has different weathers in different places, and the same kick won't do the same things in different places. And unless they practice something before the game starts, which I'm not sure, or maybe the conditions change rapidly, or maybe he was just having a bad day. I think he was trying to swing all those balls right into the goal. It almost worked once, but then there were a couple of them that didn't work at all.
Yeah.
I
think Thompson maybe needs to sights a little bit. I think he's going for that back post a little bit too much.
I think he was trying to go for another Olympic goal. So
yes, like don't. Yeah, that's the thing. Maybe too much.
But then there were just moments where I was just gonna say there were just moments where they just both Matty James and Thomason, they just kicked the ball and they just put way too much power and they were just going off into a completely different direction. They were just going way off to the other side. I was thinking, why is it going there?
Yeah. Nick maybe has a point here. The wind and maybe the fact Thomason is probably dead tired. Yeah, he probably is shattered after all the work he's been doing the last couple of matches.
And I think he switched his position, and his kicks were still like as if he was still on the left side and not in the middle of the field. So yeah, he was probably scrambled towards the end of the game.
Yeah. Well, he's probably going to get the next match off, or at least the bones of the next match off, because Kakache started now. So I would guess he's probably going to get the start on the next one.
That's going to be interesting about seeing Kakache. What did you think so far with him coming back on? Because he was more or less, he was linking up a lot of play. There was a lot of passing with him when he was on. And I don't know whether it was. No, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying, I didn't. I suppose I didn't pay him as much attention to him as I probably should have when he came on. But his work rate seemed quite good, passing, linking up. It'll be interesting to see him as a fresh pair of legs in a new match and see how he does on that side. But yeah, I'm kind of happy he's back, and I do think Thompson needs a break. Thompson was always going to kind of revert back to the mean after having such an amazing start. He wasn't going to be able to keep that up for every single match. But I do think he's a decent replacement and cover for the match. on that side, and I do think he deserves a spot more than Maka on that side. I think he does better than Maka. So yeah, let's hope that Kakachi comes back and does something. And that's the thing. Look, Thompson has been great, but wishing for Thompson to stay in that position, I don't know if that's the right thing. You know, when you have a player coming back that you brought in to take and dominate that spot, should you not be wishing for that player to be achieving his top ability? But we'll see. I've got backup. I'm comfortable with Thompson.
I think the issue is that because it's the championship, games come at you thick and fast, and we basically got to play 3 matches this week. So we played already 2 of those, and we've got another one on Sunday. So rotation is going to be key for this as well. So we're going to need to use Thomason to his fullest abilities, but we're going to also need him to just rest a bit as well. And he's only going to get better in that position when we use him.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, guys, we have basically hit 90 minutes, but let's have another look at the scores so far in the matches. Watford have now gone up 3-0 versus Birmingham. Ouch. Definitely not good for Birmingham. So this is going to end with us having 6 points on Birmingham for the moment. This seems to be our little flow year on year, is we kind of have our team that gives us a bit of a run for our money, Stockport, and then Birmingham will come in second, and then the following season we kind of move on. I wonder if that's going to happen this season. Are we going to be nicely ahead of Birmingham by the end of the season? And let's end on this little bombshell. Guys, in the chat, let me know, do you want to have a rivalry with Birmingham chasing for this playoff spot at the end of the season? Or do you want to just toast them and leave them in the dust?
Yeah,
guys,
Birmingham
that's the bombshell answer for me. What do you want with Birmingham? Do you want the rivalry friendly, or do you want to toast them? Anand, you first.
Yeah, but they had their day in the sun. Now it's our turn. I know we kept losing the derby games or drawing them, but we do have to play them again. So that will be at their turf. So we'll probably settle it on that during that game.
Okay, Abs.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I mean, it's always fun to have a friendly rivalry with Birmingham. It's not really like a mean-spirited one like with Stockport, where we're just like, they're just you don't like them and they don't like you, and yeah. And but with Birmingham, it's like, yeah, we're kind of in the same sticks, but it's kind of like we know what we are, and everyone knows what we are, and we're kind of in this boat where we're stuck together and we're fighting each other on the boat, but we kind of got to stick together in a weird way. But we still kind of just like, all right, we're frenemies. We are frenemies is the right word.
Okay. Right. This week, Bruce McFarlane gets it. Now, new season, time for a new villain. On that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next time. Bye.
See you in a bit, guys.